Greetings at Cheating Story Lab. Upon finishing this narrative, feel free to pass it along to someone who might find solace in it. Gabriel Reeves, aged 41 and a project manager for a mid-sized construction firm in Columbus, Ohio, shares his story. Married to Brooke for 5 years, they cohabited harmoniously, devoid of children, in a renovated 3-bedroom colonial. However, the foundation of their union crumbled on a Tuesday morning in March, when a text at 7:47 a.m. irreversibly altered his perception of marriage, trust, and survival. "I'm done. Don't contact me. I've moved on." A chilling announcement, symbolizing the demise of over a decade-long bond. I remained there, phone clutched, steam wafting from my cup as I reread it thrice. No clarification, no forewarning, simply completed. I diverted to voicemail. I texted querying the situation, receiving no reply. I attempted her office. Her assistant reported she'd taken personal time off. I navigated to her sister's residence. No one responded. By midday, I was stationary at my kitchen table, feeling benumbed and perplexed, endeavoring to decipher what I had overlooked. Had we quarreled? Not in a while. Had I committed something inexcusable? Nothing that came to mind. We'd been, well, predictable, perhaps, but well. Then I scrutinized our bank accounts. We maintained 3 joint ones, primary checking and savings, as well as an emergency money market. The checking account, usually filled with around $11,000, displayed a balance of $347. The savings account showed $89, and the money market account was completely depleted. I refreshed the page. The numbers remained unchanged. I scrolled through the transaction history. From 6:15 to 6:40 that morning, over an hour before her text, Brooke moved approximately $78,000 from our accounts without our knowledge. Several unrecognized wire transfers were made, causing my hands to grow cold. This wasn't a spontaneous act or a breakdown. It was premeditated. I contacted the bank, who confirmed that the transactions were legal and permanent, except in case of legal intervention. They informed me there was no way to halt further transfers as our accounts were joint, allowing full access for both parties. I ended the call and sat in silence, at which point I made a crucial decision. Instead of panicking or becoming enraged, I became systematic. First, I opened a new individual checking account at another bank and transferred whatever was left from our joint accounts into it. Secondly, I contacted a divorce attorney. I didn't settle for any attorney. Instead, I found Claire Hutchins, a partner at a firm dealing with high-conflict divorces and financial misconduct cases. Her consultation fee was $500, which I paid using my credit card. She listened attentively, took notes, and uttered four words that significantly altered my strategy. "Don't confront her yet." Claire suggested that if Brooke had emptied accounts and disappeared, she probably had more up her sleeve. Confronting her would only make her more cautious. Instead, Claire advised me to document everything, remain silent, and let Brooke believe she'd escaped unscathed. According to Claire, people become complacent when they think they've triumphed. So, I followed her advice. I refrained from sending angry messages or broadcasting my displeasure on social media. Instead, I focused on work, returned home, and started compiling evidence. Subsequently, I hired a forensic accountant named Leonard Cho. This expert specialized in uncovering hidden assets and financial fraud, and he requested $3,200 for a comprehensive audit. I charged the expense on my credit card, intending to handle the debt at a later time. A week into the matter, Leonard uncovered something unexpected from Brooke over the past 14 months. She had been quietly transferring funds from our joint account in small amounts like $400 or $600 and depositing them into an unknown personal account. The total amounted to just over $34,000, but that wasn't the only shocking discovery. 6 months prior, Brooke had obtained a personal loan of $25,000 using our house as collateral without my knowledge or consent. She forged documents to do so. Leonard identified this fraudulent activity immediately and said it was a case of forgery and financial misrepresentation. If desired, we could file criminal charges. I didn't seek revenge, but rather justice and protection from her repeating the deception with others. On the 4th day, I contacted a private investigator named Tom Landry, a former cop who now worked as a contractor for law firms. Claire had recommended him. Tom managed to uncover a single task: determine where Brooke went and who she was with. He accomplished this in less than a week, reaching out to me on a Friday afternoon. "You might want to be seated for this," he said. It turned out that Brooke hadn't merely abandoned me. She had moved in with a man named Kyle Brennan. Kyle was 36 years old and a pharmaceutical sales representative whom she met at a work conference 18 months ago. As per Tom's information, they had been seeing each other for over a year, possibly even longer. The part that caused my stomach to plummet was discovering that Kyle wasn't just some ordinary man. He was married, with his wife Angela being oblivious. Tom provided me with a file containing photographs, timestamps, and text message records obtained through lawful subpoena channels tied to the divorce case Claire was working on. In one message, Brooke wrote, "Once I'm free of Gabriel, we can finally get this right. I'll have half of everything, and we can start anew." She didn't abandon me due to our relationship shattering, but rather because she perceived me as an easy prey. I archived and cataloged everything, awaiting my opportunity. A fortnight following Brooke's initial message, I received divorce papers by messenger. She demanded half of all marital possessions, including the house, my 401k, and a share of my future income. Her filing attributed our issues to irreconcilable differences and omitted any mention of Kyle, the affair, or her earlier financial misdeeds. Claire scrutinized the papers and smirked. Her portraying herself as a victim will backfire. We filed a counterclaim. In the document, I detailed Brooke's withdrawal of $78,000 from shared accounts without prior notice or consent, her covert transfer of $34,000 over 14 months, forged loan documents, proof of a long-term extramarital affair, a demand for comprehensive financial audit and return of all misused funds. A motion to freeze any remaining joint assets was filed, and an emergency hearing was requested. The hearing was scheduled 6 weeks later. Before that, I undertook an action I had never done before, contacting Kyle's wife, Angela. This wasn't out of vengeance. It was because if someone had informed me earlier, I could have safeguarded myself sooner. I felt she deserved the same consideration. I sent her a concise, respectful email explaining who I was, what I found, and offering evidence if desired. I avoided personal commentary, only presenting facts. She responded swiftly. "Thank you for informing me. I sensed something was amiss. Could we meet?" We arranged to meet at a coffee shop. 34-year-old Angela, a middle school teacher, was distraught after discovering Kyle's infidelity following 9 years together, 6 of which were spent as a married couple, with a 4-year-old daughter. Upon presenting her with the text messages, photographs, and timeline, she wept, then fumed, eventually finding resolve. "I'm taking legal action," she declared. "I want to ensure he doesn't get to maintain the facade of an innocent family life while my daughter and I suffer." We shared our respective lawyers' contact information. Claire's lawyer and Angela began collaboration. The emergency hearing was scheduled in a compact courtroom at the county family court, with Judge Evelyn Park presiding, a stern woman with a reputation for harsh penalties towards financial misconduct. Brooke arrived with her attorney, Dennis Carver, a younger, self-assured man seemingly anticipating an effortless victory. Brooke appeared composed, having styled her hair and donned a conservative blouse. She sat with her hands folded, giving an air of reasonableness. Claire rose, walking Judge Park through the chronology, the unexpected departure, the messages, the depleted bank balances. She then introduced Leonard's financial audit. Upon taking the stand, Leonard elaborated on Brooke's systematic transfer of funds, fabrication of loan documents, and concealment of assets. He produced bank statements, transaction records, and duplicates of the altered loan documentation. Twice, Carver objected. Both times, Judge Park overruled him. Next, Claire summoned me to testify. I provided succinct, factual responses, avoiding any editorializing or emotional expressions. Instead, I merely answered questions. Carver challenged me during cross-examination, attempting to imply that I had exercised control or financially abused, but I maintained a composed demeanor. "I believed in my wife's integrity," I stated. "I never tracked her expenditures. I never imposed restrictions on her access. We were partners, or so it seemed to me." Judge Park posed the question to Carver about evidence of my supposed wrongdoing, but he had none. Then, Claire played her ultimate card by summoning Tom Landry to testify. Tom presented proof of the affair, not to humiliate Brooke, but to substantiate a motive for her financial actions. He exhibited text messages where Brooke openly discussed taking half of everything and starting anew with Kyle, causing Brooke's face to pale. Carver whispered something to her. She shook her head, and Judge Park stared intently at Brooke. Ms. Reeves, Judge Park addressed Brooke. Did you forge loan documents using your husband's name? Before Carver could answer, Judge Park interrupted. I asked your client. Brooke hesitated, then softly, I needed the money. That's not an answer to my question. And there was silence as Judge Park continued. Did you withdraw $78,000 from shared accounts without informing your spouse or granting him access to those funds? And did you do so while initiating divorce proceedings and claiming a right to half of marital assets? Brooke remained silent. Judge Park paused. This court has no tolerance for financial fraud. Ms. Reeves, not only have you breached the terms of your marriage, but you have engaged in actions that are nearly criminal, she addressed Carver. Your client will return every dollar taken from joint accounts, with added interest and legal fees. She will receive nothing from Mr. S. assets. In the ruling, Reeves must repay a total of $112,000. The amount withdrawn plus penalties and legal fees, relinquish 0% of the marital home, and is responsible for the full balance of the fraudulent loan obtained. If she fails to comply within 30 days, the matter will be referred to the county prosecutor for potential criminal charges. The hearing concluded in 20 minutes with this decision, and the divorce was expedited, granting the house to you. Leaving the courtroom, Brooke's lawyer privately asked Claire if they might consider a settlement. Claire responded, your client should have contemplated that before engaging in fraud. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized, with Brooke repaying the money in installments under court supervision. For about 8 months, she and Kyle remained together until he left her for another woman. Angela subsequently divorced Kyle and was granted primary custody of their daughter. I retain the house, my retirement, and my dignity. People often ask if I feel vindicated. Truthfully, I feel exhausted. Betrayal not only shatters your heart, but also undermines your confidence in your own judgment. For months, I rehashed every moment, every conversation, trying to discern what I had overlooked. But this is what I discovered. Replaced the first sentence with a similar structure for parallelism. Upon exiting the courtroom, Brooke's attorney discreetly inquired whether we might consider a settlement. Claire responded, your client should have pondered that before engaging in fraud. In some cases, individuals can be adept at deception, and self-protection requires maintaining composure, being shrewd, and letting their overconfidence unravel them, was Brooke's assumption. I might have crumbled. She presumed I would be too distraught, bewildered, or passive to retaliate, but she erred. Not because I am more intelligent or robust, but because I refuse to allow emotions to dictate strategy. I didn't challenge her in my anger. I didn't make empty threats. Instead, I assembled a case, remained silent, and let the truth emerge. The last encounter with Brooke was at the final settlement meeting. She seemed diminished, drained, and didn't apologize. She simply signed the documents and departed. I don't harbor animosity towards her, seldom think about her, but I hope she learned what I did. Actions have consequences, and those underestimated often prove most unexpected. If you find yourself in a comparable situation, my counsel would be, refrain from reacting, respond, avoid letting anger lead to reckless behavior, collect evidence, engage professionals. Prepare a legal defense before engaging anyone. Keep in mind that being silent isn't a sign of weakness. At times, it can be the strongest action you take. Thanks for tuning into Cheating Story Lab. If this narrative strikes a chord with you, please share it. Someone may need to hear it right now. Gabriel Reeves. I'm the one who discovered that justice doesn't always bellow. Sometimes it merely waits.